So about 2 years ago, we moved into this house, this garage, and it was just a complete mess. So one day I took everything out, reorganized it, put it all in here. And so today we're gonna be going over what worked well, what didn't, and then the shop is done now. So we're gonna be moving everything into the shop and applying some of what we learned here to there, and we're gonna organize. So first, one of the things that worked well was these K-rails. So these are Lowe's brand Cobalt K-rails, and it's not really the brand that matters, it's just having a rail system where you can see like all this stuff here is up off the floor. I mean, pretty much so I can shove other stuff underneath it, but it gets stuff organized really well up high where you can see it. It's you know, modular, reconfigurable, so as your stuff changes over time, you can take hooks off, put hooks on, put different stuff up there, and it works really well. The pegboard, as usual, pegboard is always great. I like pegboard a lot more than I like toolboxes. I know a lot of people like toolboxes. The thing is, like, even though like I've labeled my drawers, I still have trouble finding stuff, and like stuff in here hasn't moved in years. And it just takes me so much longer to find something in a toolbox than it does up on a pegboard, because it's just right there. You can see it, you can reach for it. Kind of along the same lines, I don't like cabinets. I really like shelving, and this has all worked out really well. So if you remember, these were actually all cabinets when we moved in, and I got so frustrated with them after putting everything in there and not being able to find it. I ripped the doors off one day. So shelving for sure, not cabinets. I mean, I know the cabinets look really nice, but it's more, I think, for aesthetics than utility. So we're gonna be going with shelves in the new shop. One thing I didn't expect to like was these drawers. So these have been super handy. They were here whenever we moved in, and what I've been using them for is hardware. So typically with like screws and stuff, the way I used to do it is like I'd stack them on a shelf, right? And so you'd have the screws there, but you want to get to the one on the bottom, so you got to move these ones on top, get to the one on the bottom, and then everything gets unorganized really quickly. But with a drawer, they're all right there. You can see what you got. We got our nails over here, and so you can just, again, kind of like the pegboard, you can just reach for whatever you need and grab it. So we're gonna be doing drawers of some sort for hardware. I think it works really good for hardware. One thing that didn't work out well was this outlet right here, like kind of right in the middle of the workbench. So my thought was like, oh, you wanna plug something in, you're gonna wanna plug it in right in the middle where it's easy to get to. The problem is though, say you're working on something like, we're wrenching on this battery right here, you wanna plug something in, well, now whatever you're working on is in the way of your plugs, and you plug something in, then your cord's in the way, it just doesn't go well together. So luckily, I already realized that. I moved the outlets in the shop, so you kind of want your outlets, I'd say, over to the side. They do have those outlet strips, and I used to use those a lot. The thing is, they're not rated for high amps, so you can't just like plug a welder or something into them. So we're sticking with traditional outlets, but just off to the side and not in the middle of the workbench. So this power stuff up on the wall, this was a first for me. I wasn't sure how it was gonna go, but this has been so good. I used to just put my battery chargers down on the workbench, but up here out of the way, it's really easy to just take your battery off whatever tool, throw it in here, it starts charging, and then whenever it's done, we got these little battery holders I found on Amazon. You just take your battery off, put it up there, and then you know that those batteries up there are charged. Whenever you need one, you just come grab one, they're right there, super easy to get to. Also, these drawers, I guess they're made by Craftsman. It's not so much the drawers, but like the size of the drawer. So I've had these in the past where they have like these little itty bitty tiny drawers, and you can't really fit anything in them. These, they're more like, I don't know, what's that, like almost 2 inches by 4 inches. The size of these is really good for putting a whole bunch of stuff in. I might be getting some more of these. And having these right next to the thread checker has been amazing. The thread checker itself is awesome, and stay till the end, we're giving another one away. These shelves over here, so these are, I think I said this last time, I like adjustable shelves, so I've been able to kind of, you know, re-level these as things change over here. These have been great, even though, I mean, these are like the cheap ones, like the MDF on here or whatever, but they've been holding up. I think these same shelves came from like my old house, and they've been doing great now for years. This wire holder, I might be getting another one of these just because this one's all full, but these are amazing, keeps all your wire easy to get to. You can just pull it off the roll if you need to. These wood holders, or in our case, metal holders, this is my first time trying out these, and those have been amazing. Definitely getting some more of those. It gets all your wood, your spare materials up off the floor. You can see it, you can get to it different sizes. Those have been great. Air compressor over in the corner, out of the way. That was a good idea. We got our air hose reel here. You can pull it out, use it wherever you need to. Kind of the same thing with the garage vac. The idea was to have these over in the corner so you could get out to, you know, put air in your car tires, vacuum out your car, that sort of stuff. That's worked out really well. What hasn't worked out as great is the extension cord reel over here. So the extension cord reel itself is amazing, but one of the problems I had is what I'll do a lot of times is got two cars in here, right? So I'll pull the Escalade out so I can get over there and like have room to work on the workbench. But if I'm not doing something dirty, I'll just leave the Corvette in here. And so then we get the problem of, if you want your extension cord, you got to pull it out, and then it's either on top of the Corvette or you got to route it around, and that just takes up time. So extension cord reel probably needs to go on the other side where you do most of your work, and so we'll apply that to the shop. And speaking of the shop, so it is ready to go. The lift's up, all the paint and the walls are done. So kind of like the garage, the first thing you want to do to organize anything is like get everything out of there, and luckily there's not a lot in here to get out. It's mostly just workbenches. You can see we've got some stuff in here already. Those K-rails ready to go. So we're gonna start putting up stuff here in just a second. First though, I need to paint again. These workbenches, if you remember, I got them at auction about a year ago. They came all messed up like this, so I'm probably gonna mess them up myself over time, but it'll be nice to start with fresh workbenches. So we're gonna paint those real quick and then start bringing stuff in, start organizing. It's been part of my problem. I don't know exactly what I wanna do. Like, I know I need some shelves, I might need some drawers, but I don't know exactly what yet. So I'm gonna go ahead, start getting stuff in here, see what we need, go from there. Now, you wouldn't think it'd be possible to fail at something as simple as moving into and setting up a shop, but I found a way. Pickle beer. As you can see, this shelf right here, it don't fit so good. It's not gonna fit in between the wall and the workbench. And I swear I measured, but apparently I measured, what's the word? Incorrectly. Drink if you measured incorrectly. So this isn't entirely bad. I didn't like that this side right here was only 18 inches and the workbench itself was more like 25 inches, so they weren't gonna line up very well. But what we're gonna do now to fix this is we're gonna cut the shelf and we're gonna remake it into the shape that we want, so it fits more better. So I'm just gonna finish this here pickle beer real quick and then play with the grinder, and things should go well. On second thought, the more I play with this, the more it's starting to look like a rectangle. So we're just gonna return this, get a rectangle one, and not waste any time just trying to make this work. So moving on. So the shelves are up. That took a minute, and they're probably mostly safe. So this is actually 6 sets of shelves. They're only supposed to be this tall, but I made them double that. So if you look on these guys right here, there's like 2 rivets. So the way you're gonna do it, if you want to do the same thing, is you put 1 rivet above the brake and 1 rivet below the brake on the little seam right here, and that holds your shelves together. I also, I put a board here on the wall, screwed it into the studs, and then screwed the shelves into the board, so it shouldn't come off the wall now. I also, on the front here, I bolted all the rails together, so this thing it's really sturdy now. If I hadn't had shoulder surgery last week, I probably would have climbed up there to show you just how sturdy it is, but oh no, so sad. And so I did mention earlier the MDF shelves are fine. The thing with these, I just wanted the color to look right in here. And so these are actually metal shelves. They're really thin metal shelves though, but they have all these reinforcements in them. So we'll see how they do. I forget what brand they are, but I'll link to it in the description. And then these over here, we got this in place of that angly shelf thing. Same brand. It's okay. I mean, we knew this was bound to happen, right? We're blocking outlets already, but we'll live with it, deal with it, figure it out. This guy right here, I picked this up from Harbor Freight. So this is going to be for all of like our big bolts and stuff that just really have nowhere to ever go. So I think it's gonna be good for that. These bins are admittedly like pretty flimsy, but I guess you could replace them with more heavy duty bins you get from somewhere else. But the rack itself is pretty nice. This should work out well. So I'm about to put a board up to secure this shelf to the wall, right? And we need to find a stud to screw into. Now there's the, you know, you can use a stud finder. Those don't always work. You can use the tapping method, and that works for me like half the time. But what always works is a magnet. So we've got an outlet right here. So we know there's a stud on either side of that outlet. So what you do is you take a magnet, you kind of run it along until you find somewhere right there. There's a screw into the stud holding the drywall onto the wall. So we know there's a stud there, and now we can measure 16 inches either way. Studs are 16 on center, and we can find all of our studs to screw into. Now that we got the shelves up, I think it's time to move in more stuff. And as you can see, pegboard is pretty much done, I think. So I think it's time for a quick update. So I think most everything I want is up here, and admittedly, it's not 100% the best use of pegboard space. Like these files, they probably don't need to be right there, but I had a dead spot and they fit there, so there they went. I tried to arrange things into like departments. So over here we've got measuring, then you've got your adjustable wrenches, you've got your channel locks there, we've got screwdrivers and stuff down here, regular type wrenches, box wrenches, hammers, a couple saws for the heck of it, vice grips. Over here we've got kind of our like consumables. We've got grinder wheels, tape, reciprocating saw blades, glue. A little bit of glue is always a good thing to have out. Clamps, up and around. And so now that we've got everything where it's happy on the pegboard, the last step is to put these little hold down things on. So these are little plastic, I don't know, clip things that hold your peg onto the board, so that way when you take a wrench off, you don't accidentally do that. And that's why all of my pegs here are spaced like 2 apart. So plastic thing goes right over that into the other holes. And then whenever you go to take your wrench off, it doesn't go anywhere. So get that done. You guys right here, these are the replacements for those little, I don't know, storage container things that I cut the holes out of the top of in the last garage. They're just little cups that mount onto your pegboard with little pegboard mount, and they look like they'll work pretty good. You can fit a lot of pens or grease pens or pencils or other things in them. For battery charging, wound up doing the same thing we did in the other garage. I just really like the way it worked out over there, just having stuff on the wall, being able to see your battery. So that is all right there. The shelf over here is starting to come together. I think what I'm going to do is it's going to be, yeah, so a bunch of parts. You can see they're starting to pile into here, all the big stuff that doesn't really have a good home. I think my drills and stuff are going to hang out in this general area. Up here we've got grinders, saws and stuff. Back in the corner we'll stuff that we never really use. Down here this is just staging. We're working on that. I know I mentioned I don't like toolboxes, but I went and I bought one, or at least a toolbox topper. This goes on top of a rolling toolbox, and this is really just for like GoPros and charging stuff. It's also really good for, so I've got like all these magnetic flashlights now, and so you can just throw these guys up there. That fell down. Oh, don't forget about back to the 80s and 90s DFW car show. So throw your flashlights up there and you can charge them from right here. These, I think the theme of today is going to be magnets, because I'm discovering a lot of good magnet stuff. So these are just little magnet hooks from Harbor Freight, so you can put like your headlamp on there. Another thing from Harbor Freight that's magnetic is this guy right here, and I'm not gonna really use it on the edge of the toolbox here, but I've been using this on the scissor lift, and it's been really handy to have like a little tray to put your stuff, so you could use it, you know, other places around your shop. Oh, magnetic cup holder. We're giving one of these away today too. These things, it was another 6-pack situation, so I was gonna buy 2, and 2 was like $12 or something, and then they had a 6-pack for like $15, so wound up with 6 of them. One of these will be one of today's prizes. Just stick those wherever you need a drink. I almost forgot. Thread checker installed. If you've ever been to Ace Hardware, you've seen one of these. They're amazing. There's lots of different types of thread checkers out there. This one, it's just the best. It's the best. The way I wound up with this is similar to the story I just described. They were like $60, and I was like, this is too expensive for a thread checker. But one day I just, you know, decided I'm worth it, and I got one, and Amazon sent me 6 of them. So I thought I'd messed up and ordered a 6-pack, but come to find out, they are actually $60 thread checkers, and they, oops, sent me 6, and I started giving them away. So we have one left, and at the end of today's video, I'll tell you how to enter to win that or the cup holder. I think we're giving away one more thing too. But yeah, tools are up there, and we started emptying this thing out. Like this toolbox here, it is almost, we're getting towards empty. So there's still some stuff to do, but I think the plan is I want to empty this thing out completely, get rid of it, or just move it back to the other garage for other stuff. Maybe put a couch right here. That could just be good to have. And so all the sockets in here, Alan did give me, he has his old rolling cart here. This right now is completely empty. So I'm gonna start moving some stuff over to here. We also need to get up the K-rails on the wall. I'm trying to decide where the K-rails go, where the wood rack goes. So I'll figure that out in a second. We'll get that up. Wire rack, brought that over from the other garage. That's looking good. The shelves, I think I may have overdone it. I think I just got too excited that I had tall ceilings, and I was like, oh, I need tall shelves, and I can only reach so high. So those top few rows, I think I'm just gonna stuff like this stuff, all my shameful boxes. So these are parts for a certain car that I've never installed, and so we're just gonna put those up there until we're ready for them. It'll be just fine. And so just like the last garage and the pegboard over there, I tried to keep things in like departments again. So up here and over here, this is like all of your electrical stuff. We've got kind of plumbing up there. Down here, you start to get into automotive, and automotive is like up in this section. And then the rest of this, well, there's automotive again, but that's pretty much all woodworking. Well, there's a metal saw, just kind of fit there. And oh, so sandpaper. I've had a sandpaper problem for a really long time, and that problem is like organizing the sandpaper. Typically I just have like a bucket with all of my sandpaper in it, and you can never find any of it. So these are paper organizer racks, like just for an office, your home office or something. So got those off of Amazon, and so what we've got here, we've got like, you know, our regular sandpaper, we've got our wet sanding sandpaper, we've got our drywall sander sandpaper, we've got interference pads, belt sander, sanding blocks, Scotch-Brite, all this stuff. And you can get to it, you can see it, you can just go grab the one you need. So I think that's gonna work out pretty well. I've also been trying to organize my tools into groups, so rather than just have like all the battery powered tools in one location, over here we've got all of our sanders, down here we've got all of our woodworking tools. So that's the goal anyway. Sometimes stuff just doesn't fit because it's too big, like the drywall sander. It's over there, it's gonna have to go on the wall somewhere, but we're trying. Oh, another thing I found on Amazon, and I think these are going up in here in a second when we do the K-rails. These are clamp holders, and so they have like different sizes. So that's for like narrow clamps. Those are for like your big pipe clamps, which I have some of that we're going to need to put up. And this is actually, it's really cool the way they work. They know that your studs are 16 on center, right? And then they made their racks here so they overlap. So you get this rack on a stud and you get that rack on a stud, and they all fit together. There's another one in here. Just like so. Pretty cool. And then the last piece of the equation, I think, is drawers. So I mentioned earlier, I liked that the other garage had drawers right underneath the workbench in here. You can see we don't have any drawers. So I'm gonna fix that problem by making some drawers, and then I think we're gonna be pretty much done. So everything I just said right now. spicy pickle beer. This was a good one. It's spicy. So for Christmas, Santa Claus brought this nice metal bender, and so on these drawers, we have these really nicely bent metal edges. Those came out great. Go to put the drawer into the workbench, and if you can see right back there, doesn't matter how good your bends are if you can't measure. The drawer is like 1/8 of an inch too big. I've been thinking about ways to fix it. The first way is to just drink this terrible punishment. I think the best way to do it is I'm gonna have to cut off a side, make it like 1/8 inch shorter, and then weld it back on. Goodbye, pretty bend. All right, so it has been a minute. It took me a full 2 days to make these drawers, which seems really silly, but they work now. So this drawer over here, this is everything that was left in this big toolbox. So if you take a look here, it is all empty. Everything is gone. So this is gonna move back over to the other garage. There was a surprising amount of stuff in here. I know I said earlier, I don't really like toolboxes, but if you're looking to stuff a bunch of stuff into a small space, like they can hold a lot. I was really surprised. So yeah, we've got driver bits, drill bits sort of stuff over here. We start to get into safety apparel. Underneath those are our cleaning supplies. Super Clean keeps sending us stuff, so we have a Super Clean section there. You've got your cleaners, some lubricants with WD-40 and stuff, towels. Over here, we're back into hardware, so we got all of our screws and stuff out of the drawers in the garage. Ziploc bags, this is a new one for me. I don't know how many times over the years I've walked from the garage to the house to grab a bag, but no more. This is now a Ziploc bag garage. And then kind of going with the hardware, we got more hardware over here. I think we covered that earlier. The shop claw has now been filled with candy because my child insisted. Over there, that's where our like drills and stuff are gonna live, and then we're just gonna shove everything we don't really care about in the back there. The rails, so you may have noticed I put the steel rack up and then I took the steel rack down. It wasn't working very well in that location. This close to the workbench needs to be things I use more often than steel, so the steel has moved. It is over in this garage now. I put up a second rack too for wood there and to store some of the race ramps that came in. This is at least temporary for now because I'm still thinking about what I want to do in this garage. It could be more like drive-in movie theater sort of thing, so we may need those walls blank for a projector, but TBD. So yeah, the rails, everything, you've probably noticed, things keep moving around. Same with the pegboard, things keep moving around. But that's one of the great things about having a rail system is as stuff changes, you just, move a little, what are they called? A hook. You move a little hook, and then you can put it wherever you want. You just don't have to drill a new hole, fill a hole, all that sort of stuff. And if you're putting these up, especially the ones from Lowe's, they sell these really expensive black screws. I just use drywall screws. On the last garage video, somebody commented and said, hey, drywall screws are really brittle and they'll just fall off the wall. What they didn't realize is if you put enough brittle screws into something, it'll hold. So I've never had a problem with them falling off the wall. One other thing that's gonna change probably is the air compressor. I spent a lot of time putting an outlet in right there for it so it could live right here. And then Alan came over the other day and he was like, hey, why don't you put your air compressor in the other garage and just run a line in here? And it's gonna be way better, you won't hear it. And I got actually a nice spot over here. So like right behind the door here, once I move all this junk, it can live right there. We'll be able to pass the line right through into the shop in a good location, and we can also run it, kind of wherever else we need to. But that will be in the future, a different episode. So also up here, I put the pipe rack clamp up, high out of the way. That's been working well so far. I took one of the other ones for welding clamps. I actually bolted it into the side of the welding table here. So those are, right where you need them when you need them. This toolbox is now full of all of your sockets and socket accessories. Admittedly, I could probably do a better job getting different socket organizers. These ones are not the best. They're kind of hard to get off and you don't know what you're grabbing until you've already grabbed it. So I'll probably look into different socket organizers in the future. But for now, that's just the way things are. One of the problems I'm having though is a place for a vise. So normally I'll take it and I put it on like the end of my workbench somewhere, but the problem is on this end you have no room. On that end you have no room. So I'm not sure exactly what to do. I know they make like standalone vice stands that you can use, but we already have the jaw horse over there, and that's basically the same thing. But one idea I had was, have you ever seen a work truck with a vice coming out the hitch receiver? I think what I might do is take a piece of metal that a trailer hitch can fit into, weld it right in here, and then make a mount for the vise, and then whenever I need the vise I can slot it in, use the vise, and then take it out whenever I don't want it. That way it's not in the way in the middle of the workbench. If y'all have any other ideas, let me know, but that's what I'm thinking right now. Up next, we have some speakers here, get some sound going. So these are in-ceiling speakers, and you can see they're actually in a garage ceiling right there. So I've had these type of speakers in every house I've lived in for the past decade. They usually work out really well, get speakers out of the way, they have good sound. Thing is though, we don't have a ceiling, we never had a ceiling, we have rafters. So Alan had an idea, he's like, take a piece of wood, throw the speakers in them, and then just put them up there. So that's what we're gonna do. This is actually the crate from the metal break. We're gonna reuse that. After speakers is actually the last part of garage organization, which is not organizing at all. It's garage decoration. So speakers, decoration, and then we're gonna give away the thread checker, a couple other things. We're on the home stretch. Here we go. So I just went to try out the new sofa bed here, and as you can see, oh, it's because, oh no. Pickle beer. It's because I installed it upside down. It could be because I threw the instructions away. But you know what? Let's give a big old cheers to the pickled beer in the sky over there, because that's the thing now. So salty. And I'm just gonna unassemble or reassemble this. And so there you have it, we are done. So that is the exhaust, the old exhaust off the Viper, 8-liter V10. So the flag there, that's for the EPA. So we've also got a couch here. This is a sleeper sofa sort of thing. And I know couches don't usually go in garages, but the thing is our house isn't really that big. We get a lot of guests staying with us, and so whenever we have a lot of people over, I can just leave and come out here and be by myself. And then we have the emergency and failure section. So, you know, if you get hurt or you hurt something, we can take care of both of those problems. And then we just got like some flags, license plates, signs. I have a lot more stuff. I just didn't want to make it too crowded. Mr. Nobody has given me some posters and stuff, so some more stuff might go up, but for now, this is what we're going with. And with that, let's get to giving away a thread checker and some other stuff. Now you may be asking yourself, why do I need a thread checker? If you go to the hardware store, they typically have these things there. You can check your threads at the hardware store. Well, if, say for example, you're polishing a car exhaust and your buffer pad decides to leave this world and you don't know what thread pitch you have on your buffer pad, you can come over here, very quickly figure out that is a 5/16 by 24 buffer pad. Order a new one and go on your way. So they're super useful to have around. So we're giving away one new in the box thread checker. I should probably fix that hole before I ship it. We're also giving away one of the cup caddies. These are pretty cool. We use them all around the shop here. Here's one right here. Whenever you fail, you can have your pickle beer there, or you could have your pickle beer here, or you know, just wherever you want. Apparently they work on both lawnmowers and forklifts. So give them that away too. And then I mentioned we have a super clean section over here due to the folks at Super Clean. They are going to give away some stuff too. So you'll get a degreaser and a foaming spray degreaser if you win that. So the way this is gonna work, leave a comment in the comment section, something about a thread checker. It doesn't have to be witty, it could just be the words thread checker, and that will enter you to win everything. There's some more technical details in the rules, like you have to be in the lower 48 states, that sort of thing. But the way it's gonna work is I will assign everybody a random number. I have whoever comments, and then 1, 2, 3, you'll win whatever you get. If you don't want the cup caddy and you really just wanted the thread checker, you can pass. We'll give it to somebody else, that's fine. But they're all going away. You have 1 week from the day this video airs. Put the date on the screen. If it's after that date, don't send me an email asking for a thread checker because everybody is still doing that from the last video. So that is it for moving to the shop. Hope y'all like the way it turned out. Now that it's actually done, we can get some work in here. But until next time, I'm gonna use our new emergency section here. I got my done with the screw, so I'm gonna get a Band-Aid. And what the fuck? All right, that was probably a long video, so thanks for hanging around. But since the shop is done, you may be wondering what's next. Luckily, since we now have a handy dandy whiteboard, we can make a list of priorities and or projects. So there is obviously the RX-7. I said before, as soon as the lift goes up, we would get to work on it. What I really meant was as soon as the lift is up and we're moved in, which now we're moved in, so there's no excuse except there is now a greenhouse. So if you look right here and there, and then all down there, and there's some outside too, that is all a 15 by 20 foot greenhouse. Is gonna go on the other side of this garage, in between the garage and the house. And so I promised y'all that I'd do the RX-7, but I also promised my wife that I would build her a greenhouse. So guess who's getting ahead of the RX-7? We'll make numbers here. 1. There is also the other garage that you just saw, 3-car garage. There is also the 2-car garage. Let's take a look over there too. So if you noticed, it is it's pretty barren here now. There's not too much left in here. Actually, I'm thinking about taking the shop vac on the wall there and putting it over in the shop, maybe in place of the wire holder, but whatever, we'll worry about that later. This is mostly, spray paint's gonna move over too, but this is mostly gonna be like house stuff, storage type stuff, except if you notice over here, I have left all of my spray guns. And that is because RX-7 is gonna need to be painted, right? And in here we have a nice large area that could turn into a big paint booth. So, 2-car garage paint booth project. We also still have this. So if you remember, that was a grill I bought to redo my outdoor kitchen at the last house, and then we unexpectedly moved, and it's been sitting in a box since then. So I still need to build an outdoor kitchen. So we're gonna make that 2-car garage slash paint booth. Got an outdoor kitchen. Oh, I almost forgot about probably one of the most important ones. The bathroom. The bathroom still, no one's done it yet. So, I can't come out here and sleep without a bathroom. Oh, and then there's the truck. I think we're gonna be doing truck things soon. Oh, and there's the 55, hang on. So the rope shelves right up there. that entire row, all parts for the 55, primarily steering type stuff. We're gonna do power steering, have a new steering wheel. Hang on. It appears that someone ordered some bumpers, bumper. So as you can see, there's a lot to do. If y'all wanna vote on what you want to see next, assign them like a number down in the comments and we'll take that into consideration. Greenhouse is first though. I'd like to get the bathroom done. I'd also like to get the RX-7. I'd like to get it all done. Okay, that's it for real. I gotta go get started.